Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Kimbo here, and it is time for an epic Bakugan Evolutions episode review. So, we've got not 24, but 25! Episode 25 up in here, man. So, you know it's about to get real. We're in the crazy part of the season, man, with the big time build-up. So, with this, it's fun because we're still getting some fun episodes, but we're also getting big time development with the plot. You know, they move along really quickly, like between episode and episode. Like they get right to the point, man, and progress it. And even like some of the other episodes, people see them as like filler episodes. I just say side episodes, like side quests or such. But those episodes still matter because you're still building up other characters, like how we've seen so like the Masters of Disaster. We saw an episode with Magnus recently, like see what's going on with him and them being, you can go check out the review of the other episodes. But we're starting this one off. Um, we're starting it off at the Bakugan Academy. So it's actually like a battle between Sharktar and, no, not Sharktar, Warrior Whale. Warrior Whale and Sharktar look really similar. But, between Warrior Whale and Hydrus. So basically like the Rocker and also Shun, his roommate and the Rocker, they're facing off against one another. It's like roommate bonding day, kind of, But it starts off with those two. They're facing off in a battle. Then Ajit's in the middle of it, and he's like, well, like just thinking about his roommate and everything. He's like, okay, they're just battling. They're facing off and such. Well, we're getting a battle between those two. And then Ajit walks off. He's sitting there talking with Farrell, and then they actually go and see what Dan's doing, because he wanted to do some battles with Dan, I think. And Dan and Winton are actually sitting there working on homework. Winton's helping Dan out with his homework because Dan's struggling with his homework big time. And Winton's like, "You've gotten it wrong. You got every single question wrong again." Just trying to teach Dan it. He's like, "If you don't do your work and you don't get good grades, then you'll be out of here." And Dan's like, I know. So then Ajit walks off, again, and he's just sitting there talking with Farrell about like his roommate. Farrell's like, "Do you even have a roommate?" And he says, "I do, but he's never there. Like whoever they are, they're never there. Ajit's never met them. He's literally never been in the room at the same time as Ajit has, which is interesting. But he's like, I wonder if there's even something to lead me to them." He looks over. There's a glass. There's a glass that had like a small, tiny little bit of water left in it. And Ajit picks it up, and then Ajit runs into Lightning, and he's like, "Can you sniff this?" And, like find the roommate. And then Lightning's just sniffing around, But he's sniffing around. It leads them to the cafeteria. Obviously, Ajit and Farrell following behind Lightning. Then Lightning jumps over. Lightning finds a bone. And then Farrell's just like, "Oh, well, he found something, but it's not." And then Ajit's just like, "It's not my roommate!" But I think this is a big clue, honestly. Like, I don't know if it's going to be like this simple. But if so, it would make sense. And if so, they gave us the tiniest little hint with it. But it's a big detail if you've been paying close attention to the show. The glass of water. That's a big thing because in the most recent episode, you can go and check it out, did the review on it, where we saw Magnus and the the Masters of Disaster. When Master Blue was following Magnus around, he mentioned like because he tried to get Magnus some juice, but Magnus said, "I only drink water." There's a glass of water with a little bit left in there, and his roommate's never been there. It would make sense because Magnus basically left the academy. Ajit's never seen his roommate, like ever, in the whole time they've been at the academy. Not once. Magnus isn't one to use like a dorm room or anything like that. He wouldn't use the dorm room. He'd just sleep somewhere else, He'd go in the alleyway for all you know. But if Magnus is Ajit's roommate, and it turns out that way, it would make full sense. But it's also like, are they being too like obvious with it to try to make us think that it's Magnus that would be his roommate? But if it was Magnus that was Ajit's roommate, I think it would make full sense, because he was technically a teacher or such there. Nobody ever saw like where he slept at or anything, because it would just make sense if he just slept in Los Alamos in like the alleyways and such, because that's just what Magnus is used to. That's how he is. When he shows up for training and everything, when he showed up for teaching and stuff, it would make full sense. And that's why Ajit's never seen his roommate, because his roommate being Magnus, if that's the case. But we're going to have to wait and see. I just think that little detail could have told us like a lot. So if it ends up that way and it comes back to that would be crazy, man. Just seeing the little details with it. But yeah, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, could it be that he's his roommate, Magnus? Maybe, who knows? But yeah, anyways, getting into it, then Jeet and Farrell go and talk to Leah and Riot. So they basically say like, how it's roommate bonding, basically roommate bonding day or such, like that. I think it was Dan and Winton that said that. And that's what really sparked like IG talking about his roommate. But then it's Riot, like China Riot, and Leah, sitting there talking. They're actually making like a musical, basically like a music video and such. And they're like, we could use your help. And Ajit's just like, oh, I forgot I had an appointment. And then he leaves. And he's sitting there just talking about it for a bit. But, yeah, they're still sitting there talking about his roommate. And then that's when he went to Dan and Winton's room. And then he went to his own room. And that's when he's sitting there talking about the roommate. And then that's when Riot and Leah actually knocked on his door and asked if he'd help them out. He's like, please, we really appreciate it. And then he agrees to it, and then, commercial break, bah, 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 and then, getting into it, Ajit's carrying like a lot of different props and such, and he's like, how did I get grouped into this? How did I get goaded into this? And then they get to the set. It's actually a really nice set. It's like the Taj Mahal kind of theme with it, and then she's dressed up as a princess, that being Riot. And she's got a bunch of dancers and such with her, but she didn't let Leah know, because Leah's the producer for it. China Riot's just the main star. But then Riot went and did all this stuff, and then didn't tell Leah, and then they sat there and were starting to fight about it. Oh, well, your style's boring. Boring? It's my vision. Well, your vision's stupid, and if you don't change it, then I'll fire you as director. That's not how it goes. The director is the one that fires. They're sitting there just arguing about it big time. And then Ajit's like, you two should work together. And then they're just like, stay out of it. There's only one way to solve this. And it's the Bakugan brawl. And then, we got a brawl between Sectonoid and Pegatrix going on here. They're fighting one another. All hell's breaking loose with this battle. And then they put in like speed mode, I think, or like they switched to strength mode. And they're sitting there battling in strength mode. And then Ajit's just like, this isn't solving anything. He's just like, what the hell, dude? This is not solving anything. It really isn't. You two need to work together, but they're not sitting there. They're not listening or anything. They're continuing to fight. And then in the middle of their fight, an elemental storm breaks out. It's all blue, so it's Aquas with this one. And then basically Leah's telling all of the dancers and such, run away, it's a storm. So they're all trying to run away. One of them slips. She drops her Bakugan. The Bakugan goes straight into the storm. And with that, people honking all the time, like some people just know us. Either that or our neighbors, because they have a whole like woodwork shop next door. But yeah, the girl's Bakugan starts going bonkers because it's corrupted by the power of the elemental storm. And then Riot and Leah are both trying to stop said Bakugan, but then they're still sitting there butting heads, like Pegatrix is hitting Sectonoid, and then they're just like, hey, get out of my way! I know how to handle this! No, I know how to handle this! You get out of my way! And then Ajit's just like, you two need to work together! Jeez! And then, they're still sitting there trying to attack, but they're still struggling big time. Then Ajit's like, alright, I've seen enough of this. Bakugan brawl! He throws out Farrell. He's had enough. Ajit's just sitting there trying to be the peacemaker, man. He's trying to be the balance. Like Arliss balance. How Arliss has maintains order, like the power of Arliss maintains order over like the cores, over the whole network of Destroya and also Earth. It's just that balance and such. And it's better represented as that balanced faction, but also the Bakugan being more rare, So Gold Bakugan, even Magnus saying it the last episode, they maintained it too. The Arliss Bakugan in general being the more rare kind of Bakugan, out of the factions. but also like just having that balance. That's why you see like helixes. So it ups B power, lowers damage, or vice versa. Ups damage, lowers B power. That's why helixes are weird, because it's just that balance, man. The positive and negative, like that full out balance. They maintain order and such, and that's what Arliss just does. Um, they just gotta boost the power of some of the cards for sure, man, and just give some more love to Arliss in general. Because the fact that we're in the fourth season and still don't have shields that give plus 400 for Arliss. Like every other faction has that except Arliss. Arliss needs that boost, man. It's the faction that really needs like a big time boost and buff up. Like, you gotta give some love. I get like the whole balance scheme with it. Like even if Bakugan have more helixes or more cores that are kind of like that, you know, or an ability that makes it where like it gets more B power but then lowers the damage or something. Like in the case of Leonidas, like come on, man. It just needs a buff. Honestly, Arliss does. But getting back into it, Farrell's going in and fighting this Bakugan. Farrell's starting to struggle with it, and then, you know, Ajit basically tells them, you need to be combining your powers together. Fight it together instead of butting heads. And then they look at each other and they're like, yeah, we're right. Like, he's right. You know, and they start working together big time. And Ajit's sitting there struggling in the middle of the battle. Like, Farrell's struggling a bit. But then, you know, they work together, and Sectonoid's about to get hit by an attack, but then Pegastrix shields it. They start working together and such, and attacking it, wearing it down, and then Ajit goes in for the big time hit, throws out his nano gear, or not his nano gear, no, not his nano gear. He threw out his nanogon. You know, he put out Lancer, but Lancer had the power to take it out. We still haven't seen Ajit use his nano gear yet. So there's definitely gonna be like a big time build up to where like he's gonna use his nano gear. Maybe it's when he finds out who his roommate is, and then if he finds out like his roommate's Magnus, and I mean just Magnus in general, his whole demeanor, you know, it would make full sense. Like if there's some interaction with like Magnus and Ajit, and we get an episode like that, and that's what makes it build to where like he actually uses his nano gear. Because I think is he the only one? He might be the only one that hasn't actually used nano gear yet out of the Awesome Brawlers. Maybe Leah too, but I think everybody else has used nano gear at this point. But yeah, still, yeah, the overall build for this, it makes full sense. Like just getting over that whole thing of like butting heads and such, working together, bringing out both of your potentials, but just having to work together, like true teamwork, whether you're working on like a project or something. You know, whether it's like a school project or a big time project in real life with a lot of different people involved with it, you know, just about throwing those ideas out there and just balancing it and being open and being receptive as well. But, you know, overall, really, really fun themed episode for sure. Like I said, them putting in like some of the lighthearted episodes and still seeing that tension because they're still building it big time. It's not immediately with like Wagner or anybody or such with it, but like, you get that build with like the bond between roommates, you know, showing the restoration of everything. Like the roommates have the big time bonds with the academy. Maybe then it'll be like the big build up to like the whole academy coming back together and the whole crisis, because that's gonna be good and evil. You see how they're building on both sides, like things rebuilding on the side of good when it comes to the academy and everything and all those bonds. On the side of evil, things also being built up big time because you've got all these evils and such that are involved with things. You know, but yeah, overall, just that theme of like balance and restoration and like just building up, even on both sides, man. The last few episodes, you've been seeing the build on both sides. So this final battle, however it turns out, is going to be bonkers. But yeah, so now getting into the second part of the episode. So we did some big time things with this. There's a lot that went on with this one. So it starts off with Lightning sneaking into the lunchroom. He sneaks into the lunchroom and he's basically sneaking against the wall. And we get a cutscene of like talking Lightning, so we hear his dialogue and everything, you know. It might just be like to standard people, he sounds like rawr, rawr. But then to us, you know, like the audience, they make it where he actually has the voice and such, which is really cool. And they played with both of this episode. It was really fun. Like they did the balance with both of them. And also another kind of big detail that happened with this, which I thought was cool when it comes to bonds. But getting into it, he's trying to sneak into like the back room. Halcor's basically like, Lightning, I don't know if we're supposed to be in here. And he's basically like, well, they didn't say that we can't be in here. So he sneaks in there. And then meanwhile, while he's sneaking into that room, we get a cutscene of the Awesome Brawlers talking to Faustus. Also, Athena was there. Basically, Faustus called them for a meeting. And Dan wondered if it's good news. Like, it has to be good news, right? And then Faustus is like, unfortunately, it's everything but good news. It is bad news, actually. And the bad news is that somebody hacked into our system. And, they're sitting there talking about it like, oh no, someone hacking into the system. How can they get by all of the coding and the firewalls and everything, Like all the security is top notch. But they did. They broke in there. And they're saying, like, Drago said, I have a bad feeling about this. And then the alarm goes off. We got an alarm going off. It's the detection of an elemental storm. And it's basically right in the middle of the battlefield. And they all rush out there to see there's no storm. And not everybody rushed out there. I think it was like a few people stuck behind. I think it was like Hackett, Faustus, and maybe Riot. But yeah, they all stayed back. But then the Awesome Brawlers and such went out to the field, and Athena did as well. And basically, they walked into there being no storm. And then you have, meanwhile, while this is all going on, Lightning is outside. He snuck back and he got a bunch of like deli meats and such, like a big old slab of ham and such, and he took it outside and he's sitting there eating it, having the best time of his life. And Halcor's just like, if you get caught, you're gonna get in trouble. And he's like, I'm not gonna get caught. And then Halcor looks up. He's like, Lightning, you want to look up? The Lightning's just like, what? Like, he's having the time of his life right now. What could be so bad? And then he looks up. There's a ship that's coming down. And none other than Wagner comes out of it. It's the Gate Crushers. They're here. And then, Lightning and Halcor, like, we have to go warn the others. Well, they were a little bit too late. Just like a bit too late. But they already showed up there. All the Gate Crushers, Wagner being so confident. The Gate Crushers went in to where the inductor was, because that's where they were by. It was the elemental inductor. And they basically tied up Faustus and everyone. And, so they were helpless. Then Wagner shows up and shows them a tablet showing them tied up. He's like, we have your friends tied up. McHugh told me about a little diamond that you have. And it makes sense because diamond, like the shine of a diamond, having all the different rainbow colors with it, makes full sense. Elemental inductor basically acting like a diamond because when all the light goes in, like you see it in a diamond and then it splits it up into all the different colors, You know what I mean? Like when light hits it, you see all the different colors for like the diamond and stuff. So it makes sense with the inductor, how they're having all the power go in and build up on this crazy level. But yeah, so, he's like, McHugh told me about this diamond you have, and that is the power we seek and that we need in order to complete our goal. And that obviously being separating Earth and Vestroia, like closing every single gate, being on the crazy extreme side of like the human side for it, and abandoning Bakugan. And they're like, we're not gonna let you do that. And they're like, it's too late. We already have them tied up. What are you gonna do about it? And he's like, if you don't cooperate with me, we'll have something happen to your precious little professor, Faustus, And he just has a button where he can do something. And then Dan's just like, wait. All right, we'll do it. And he says, you have to give up all your Bakugan. You have to give me your Bakugan. So then they all put it in the bag and such. And, they didn't want to, but they didn't want Faustus to get hurt. So, they're basically all stumped here. But the trump card is actually your boy Lightning, so it's a good thing he actually got distracted like that, because he saw the Gate Crushers and everything. He sneaks into the base. He throws a bone. It was actually McHugh that was in the base too. They're all working together, man. But he throws a bone and it hits McHugh in the back of the head and knocks him down. And then Lightning jumps in with rope, ties up McHugh and the other Gate Crushers. And then Wagner's just like, you fools can't do anything right. You're so useless. And basically Lightning saves all of them. Like he saves Faustus and such. And then they're on their way out. Now, basically cutscene back to the Awesome Brawlers and Faustus. They're like, it's over. Or not Faustus, the Awesome Brawlers and Wagner. And they're like, it's over, Wagner. And he's like, on the contrary, we're just getting started. Then Halcor and Lightning show up. And they're like, give them back their Bakugan. because he's like, I have your Bakugan. What do you think that you can do? And then Lightning basically says, give them back. And he's like, oh, like I'm going to listen to a mangy mutt. Literally making fun of Lightning, not even acknowledging him as one of the awesome brawlers, literally calling him a mutt. Don't underestimate Lightning, man. Don't mess with Lightning. Lightning just be chill and just living his best life and everything. Like, is he getting into some trouble with some stuff? Yeah. You got to watch that, like even the ham thing now. But, you know, like he's still awesome. And, you know, so Lightning launches out Howl Core. Wagner goes in and throws out his 10 Syndiuses. This man just has 10 Syndiuses. So, Howl Core is winning the battle, taking them out one by one. But then he's starting to lose the war because getting low on numbers, like all of the remaining Syndiuses attack him at once in the small little gap they have. So it's like boom, 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 hitting them with like direct attacks big time in every window, so they have no chance to fight back. And then he's just sitting there saying, I'm not going to lose to a mangy little mutt. Literally just dissing Lightning, talking so much smack. And then all the awesome brawlers are just sitting there like, and he's like, the diamond now belongs to the Gate Crushers. And then you see this like cutscene of Lightning just looking in. He barks. He's like, rawr, rawr. And then you see Howl Core's eyes light up. And then you hear, whoa. I think this is the first time they've actually done that, where like Howl Core actually like barks too, alongside, because you know, just being a dog himself, like a Cerberus, he completely understands Lightning. Even when he's sitting there barking, like that's why he can translate and everything. But he also will bark too, because he's a pupper. He's a pupper, man. So it shows that true bond with like Lightning and Howl Core, man, with them barking with that. I don't know. Just hearing like Howl Core actually bark with this, I was like, dude, he's barking too. Oh shoot. I got like super hyped about it. But he's like, don't you dare call Lightning a little miserable mutt. He puts his life on the line for his friends all the time, and he's the greatest brawler ever. Do not doubt him. Do not underestimate him. Howl Core was not having any of his crap. And then, sure enough, they get the gear to show up. You know, they get a core to show up. And it's a Nanogon, so we got Shadow. But Howl Core uses Nano Gear now, man. Lightning managed to get Howl Core to use the Nano Gear. So they unlocked it. It looks sick, too. Literally, Shadow becomes the tail shining over. So, like how the Ultra version looks, the actual figure kind of looks for this. You know, the Ultra version for Howl Core in the second season, where it has the 3 heads and then the tail that sticks up above his head. It looks like that with the actual, like, model for him, man. And it looks so sick, except Shadow's the top part of that tail. And then he shoots the beam out and takes out all the remaining Syndiuses. And so, you know, Lightning wins it. And he's like, that's how we do it. Don't underestimate Lightning. Like, really, don't underestimate Lightning. And you learn that firsthand. And Wagner's like, I lost to this miserable little mutt. And then they basically all just say, it's over. You're done, Wagner. It's finished. Now surrender. We've won this. And then Wagner's just like, sure. And then you just see the ship come in. He gets picked up again by McHugh. McHugh says, you're going to regret this. You know, by this point, Faustus and the others made it out too. But he said, you're going to regret this. And Wagner vows, he's like, I will never surrender. Not until every single gate is closed. And they're all just looking like his convictions with this, man. We got a true bad guy with him. And honestly, it was a badass scene the way they did this. Just like, sure. And then you just see the explosion behind him. Just being all calm and such. They're making Wagner like a badass evil character for sure, man. But just being ahead strategy-wise and everything, like, he ain't playing. He definitely isn't playing. And you know it's all connected. Sun 17 Security, at least Sun 17 Security, I'm guessing the Elemental Asylum as well. And also the Gate Crushers all working under Jansen Tech. And it's a given, like how it was told the last episode with Magnus. Jansen Tech is by Ted Jansen, who's the leader, but he's also known formally as Gregorius Reed. So we're getting a build-up, and it's going to be Reed. Ted Jansen's going to be the big boss to show up. He's going to be the big boss for this. So it seems like now Ted Jansen is going to be the big evil for this, besides Wrath. So it's probably going to be a lead up to like Jansen and Wrath working together. You know, kind of a similar build up to how we had with season 3, except more on a crazy level because they're like one step ahead every single time, basically. But this time, the Awesome Brawlers, they managed to stop them because they were going after the Inductor, but they don't get it this time. But they're going after it again for sure in one of the next episodes. But yeah, dude, overall, this build-up's going to be sick. Seeing the return of Wrath, I'm thinking Wrath in Los Vamos, and then he'll probably show up when that Inductor's done. And watch, they try to use the beam and such, and Wrath's just sitting waiting for that moment. Until that exact moment, Wrath doesn't need to do anything. He was fascinated by the power of the Inductor the first time, and he's been fascinated by the power of the Inductor this time. Yeah, my neighbors just went by. Well, no, they're not neighbors, but you know. Thought they were my neighbors for a second, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, he's fascinated by the power of that Inductor. So literally, until that Inductor's brought back up, Wrath doesn't need to do anything, man. So maybe he's not going after the actual elemental crystals or anything in Vestroya. All he has to do is just get the elemental energy, you know, itself, and like crazy amount of it. Maybe he's waiting for that. Maybe when they're about to shoot that beam for that Inductor to stop all the madness, Wrath jumps in the middle of it. And then that's how he gets that crazy power. He's just waiting to absorb all that power and become like the ultimate Bakugan. I won't be too surprised. Until then, we get the build up with like Jansen Tech and everything, but then we find out the true reasoning behind their alliance with this one. You know, maybe Wrath's been working with Jansen Tech in some way, you know, for his own motives, of course. So he's probably going to turn on Jansen Tech like how he turned on Faustus, you know. I wouldn't be too surprised because Wrath's in it for himself. He's just trying to get ultimate power, man. Even to make the great Supreme Bakugan Council bow at his knees, man. But it's going to be sick just seeing how the next episodes are going. We're starting to get into the meat and potatoes, ladies and gentlemen. We're starting to get the big time full course meal with this. We're just getting the first portions of it. We're going to get into like the gigantic parts of it with, I'm thinking, the next couple episodes, man. Because I mean 25 with this. So there's 26, and there's probably going to be more after. But you know, like, it's all going to go crazy in these next couple episodes. Like, at least this next episode or something. Because I don't think they can wrap it all up in one more episode. There's probably going to be some more. Like, at least a few more. But there's got to be at least, like, 3 more episodes. Even as fast as they're going along with, like, the plot and everything, there's got to be, like, 3 more episodes or something. Because 6 total slots with that's enough time to really resolve all this. With how they're going through like as quickly as they are, but they're going into big time plot with each episode. They still gotta resolve the things with the Bakugan Academy, Coach Short's side, and then also Faustus's side. They gotta come together, man. This build up with all the evils because they're actually fully united and coming together, and it shows, man. They're solid. So the Academy has to get that solidity back. It needs it. They need all the power they can get for sure, man. With the Awesome Brawlers, with everyone. And also your boy Magnus possibly being a part of this too. And I wonder if they're actually going to build up like the Masters of Disaster to be really powerful the next time we see them. Because I mean, now Master B or Master Blue is looking up to Magnus big time. So yeah, we still got a lot of plot and such to get filled. And 2 slots ain't enough for it, honestly, at this point. So I see more episodes coming even after like 26. Maybe we get up to 30. But yeah, regardless, I love this build up. I love how they've even brought back like China with this episode, man. Like even characters we saw in the first season we're still seeing come back, man. Come on. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Like Lord Bracken, like China, etc., etc. It's really sick seeing that, man. But yeah, I wonder if we're gonna have like I wonder if the Masters of Disaster will meet the Rowdy Reds. Or is it like the Rowdy Reds grew up, or they're like the Masters? Nah, they're not the Masters of Disaster because they're all boys. So yeah, but we gotta see like. I want to see the Rowdy Reds meet the Masters of Disaster. I think that'll be pretty cool. Just that battle between them, like that interaction. But yeah, man. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this review on Bakugan Evolutions episode number 25. Not 24. 25. Oh, man. But I'm looking forward to 26 and the remaining episodes. Things are getting wild. We're the crazy part, man. And the thing is, we're starting to get that build-up. You can feel the tension. Like, this is going to be a crazy struggle. The animation, I can't wait to see, like, the animation for the final battles because it's going to be intense. The power struggle is going to be real, and I'm all here for it, man. Can't wait to see how this all goes down. And I wonder if they're gonna end it with like a movie, how they started it off with. Since they started the season off with like the actual 1 and 2, like 0 and 1, those episodes, you know, that got released way later. Maybe they'll do the same thing for the end. I don't know, but we'll just have to wait and see, dude. Regardless, I'm really hyped. But anyways, that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to slice that like button down below. Let me know how I did. If you're new to my channel, definitely be sure to subscribe for some epic content because I upload daily. And if you haven't already, be sure to ring that bell by my channel name to be notified whenever I upload a video. So yeah, guys, till next time, it is your boy Kimbo signing off. See you guys later. Thanks so much for watching. Until then, stay awesome and Bakugan Brawl. I'm up out of here.